So, madam, we can start our presentation. Let the students join in between. There is no problem
Thanks.
because we have to cover a whole lot of topic.
Yes.
Thank
So thank you so much, sir. And a very good evening to the whole lot of teachers present here who are ready to develop their own self. So I'll just go through my PPT. Uh, is it seen?
you. Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. So I'll just check whether the slides are moving or not because yesterday there was a problem and hopefully today I don't want to create any problem as such. Like, yes, is it
Yes,
moving?
madam, they are moving.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So, yes, as I was telling yesterday, I will take over the topic again of self development of teachers. And I'll sum up in the beginning so that I can continue the rest today. So every time I say, when you want to love others, you should love yourself. So the same way, when you want to develop others, there should be a development on yourself first. So teaching is a very, very noble profession. And due to teachers, there are big shots present in the society. They're doing so many things just because of the teachers. But teachers, how are they? Who are they? Where are they? So there are so many questions comes upon. And it is a very good topic to discuss because teachers can develop their own self beyond all the responsibilities taken over by them. Now, again, here, as yesterday, in self development of teachers, we have two topics understanding the self because and managing the self. Until and unless I understand my own self, I cannot manage myself. Like until and unless I motivate myself, I cannot be motivated. So, yesterday I have covered few topics like interpersonal processes. Every time we need to go with another individual in order to understand ourselves. When we look at the mirror, we see ourselves. But there is another person of ourselves again. So, in the same way, when we interact with people, whether they are students or colleagues or seniors, we find ourselves where we are. So, in this interpersonal processes, we have come across transactional analysis. And in that transactional analysis, there are two types of transactions. One is stimulus transaction and transaction response. The person who initiates is called the transaction stimulus, and the person who responds is the transaction response. After that, we have gone for different type of ego states. Where do we stand? Okay, there are different type of transactions. I hope you all have come across. I'm not repeating again because there's another topic today. I'll just give a short uh, um process of what we have come across yesterday. In ego states, we have three types of ego states. One is child, another parent, another is adult. So in child, we have, two types of ego states. In parent also, we have two types. And even in adult, we have none because we feel we are in the present. We understand what we have been doing. So there have been different type of communication among the ego states, like a child can communicate with another person who is also having the child ego state, a child communicating with another child having an adult ego state, because sometimes, we find our children try to imitate us. you know so sometimes we feel that we no one is seeing but our little child, little kid looks at us very keenly and they try to imitate it later on. So when they try to talk to their friend, they talk like as if he or she is talking like their own dad or mom or anyone. So different type of ego states are seen among us also. When we see the ego state, sometimes a child or our own student, we cannot talk in the same way to all the students. We have to differ because they have different backgrounds and all. In order to go with the smooth functioning of the communication or the relationship, we need to see that it is proper and effective in the development of both self as well as others. Now, yesterday I told that maybe after the class, yesterday's class or session, you could have find yourself which ego state you stand for, whether it is child or adult or a parent, when you speak to your colleague or when you speak to your students. Another thing which we have discussed was leadership. Every teacher is a leader, as I pointed out. Like in a class, the teacher is the sole person who dictates the whole class, and the whole number of students follows the teacher. Now, as a leader, we feel that the leader should have a charismatic personality. The leader should be able to solve every problem, whatever arises. Obviously, they are able to do. That's what they are called as leaders. Now, there are different type of leadership styles. Like they are democratic, autocratic, authoritative, laissez-faire, transformational leadership styles, and so many which we have discussed yesterday. Now, whether it is a teaching profession or whether it is any other profession, we always go with the professional values and ethics. When we go to our office, when we go to our institution or organization or companies, we forget that I am a sister or brother or, so father or mother, whatever. So we go with a professional, professional position. So there we have certain ethical rules, regulations to follow. So in teaching condition, in teaching profession, how are we going to follow the professional values and ethics? And what are they? Today's topic, today's session is this. So as we see, come back to the self-development of teachers. Now, teaching profession is a challenging one because every year you meet students and you teach them. And there may be some weak students, there may be some good intelligent students, some may be having high IQ students, some may be having below average IQ students. So it's a very challenging task for a teacher to, teach or express or make people understand in a class with a whole lot of so many students. And they have to take care also of the socio-economic well-being and academic performance. Now, why do you want to develop your own self? So, now if you know yourself, you will be able to recognize the dysfunctional and unproductive aspects in your life. Sometimes this all comes as an obstacle. It's like interacting with others. Somewhere people may misunderstand us. So, in that aspect, we need to know our own self. We should not blame ourselves. We should not neither blame others. Another aspect of self development is your ability to manage the self, which we'll discuss later on. And this self development of teachers is designed to enable to understand and manage your own self. So, this is another repetition I gave because it is very much needed for the sessions to come through. Now, as you see, there are different types of roles and positions which we come across. Now, I think so you understand there are different type of, you know, basis of power where I have discussed about positional power, you know, coercive power, referent power. So all this power also comes with the teachers, but we should know how to handle all this. Now, there are also where people where who understands that sometimes they are okay and they take others also to be okay. I think so. You understand where I am talking of or where I am focusing. And some people feel that they are okay, but others are not okay. This shows that they find fault in others. Sometimes people feel that I'm not okay, but others are okay, where we see the dependency character of the people. And the majority of the poor people, if they come across, I am not okay and you are not okay, here people have to give much importance to those type of individuals. But why? That is what the society speaks. Now, today I will be talking about Unit 3, where we will see about the professional values and ethical practices. Now, in this professional values, it comes as dignity. Where is our dignity? Teaching profession always has a dignity of their own. Truthfulness, fairness, responsibility, and pluralism. I will talk about all these things with proper examples. Ethical practices in terms of moral dilemmas. The morality is always related to ethical standards, but sometimes there is a dilemma in this. The ethical relationships we will be learning today in relation with the learners, with colleagues, with parents, and with different stakeholders and communities. How do we undergo all those processes? Now, in developing professional values and ethics, in this, what we see is every profession has its values, ethics, and set of responsibilities, and so does teaching profession has. Now, teaching as a profession demands high ethical and intellectual standards and moral values from the teachers. I think so. There are moral sciences also, which we used to study before. But when we teachers enter the class, it is nice to give some morality values to the students at least for first 5 minutes or the last 5 minutes, because this is how we can train our students to gain moral values towards society, towards themselves, towards others, you know, so that there are less criminal activities. They understand more about the value system. Yes. Now, in this, what we are going to understand as objectives, after learning this, you will be finding yourself to know about the concepts of dignity, truthfulness, fairness, and responsibility with regard to teaching profession. Now, this can be also taken with another other professions also, but as far as teaching profession is concerned, how all these professional values play a role among us. You can analyze the ethical issues related to the teaching profession with real life examples. Yeah, a few examples I'll be giving, which will be helping you to understand the term better. Now, deal with the moral dilemmas related to teaching profession. What type of dilemmas may come across or have come across, and how you're going to deal with all those. You can also understand the concept of pluralism. It's a new concept, but still it is very much in demand, and especially this also plays a major role in the society among us also. Analyze and discuss the ethical relationship, as I said, between teachers and learners, with colleagues and parents, as well as the community. So these are all the things which you will be learning in today's class or session. Now, first comes professional values. We forget all the personal values and we focus on the professional values. There is much difference between a personal value and a professional value. Now, in this professional values, what are the factors that play a major role for teachers in the teaching profession? Now, first, we can say the dignity. Everyone has the dignity, maybe a child or an adult or an old person, whatever the age is, the dignity is there. It is internalized factor which, you know, which people demand, and it is commanded accordingly. Now, the word dignity has been derived from the Latin word dignitas, which means to be worthy. Everyone feels worth, right? So, but at times we feel that I am worthless. This feeling comes because of external power, not internal power. When people start saying that you are worthless, then only you say that you are worthless, or else no. So that is what we feel, that dignity is there with everyone. And it means the worth and rights of someone or a position they deserve without any discrimination. That's what I said. Even a small child has a dignity. You cannot just scold the child in public and say that this is what you have been, treating the child as. Everyone has a dignity. And if you treat others with dignity, you will gain respect. You will also be treated with dignity. That is vice versa. Now, dignity and respect are two different terms, but sometimes people say that these two are similar terms, but it is not. So, when we talk about dignity, it is inherent and absolute, and every person has dignity in terms of his or her values as an individual, whereas respect is earned. It is the worth and rights of someone or a position that they deserve after performing their duties. As a teacher, once you perform a duty, once you take a class, so the students will start showing you respect with the type of performance you have come across. So, this is what respect is. We earn respect from others, whereas dignity is already built up in everyone. Now, sometimes dignity plays a multi level concept. As you take in a school organization, it can be seen in various hierarchical levels, like dignity between administration and teacher levels, teacher and student levels, and among the colleagues as teachers. So, this value is seen among all, and it plays roles of different characters with different type of people or organization, or groups and all. Now, if I give an example, what I say is teachers must maintain dignity among colleagues by showing a minimum level of respect to every colleague, irrespective of his or her likes or dislikes. I know it is considered that some teachers maybe according to their own taste, according to their own vibes, like whatever the mental vibes we have. So we may like some of the characters which we have in others. So that may be always there, but still we should not disrespect or bring others' dignity down. Now, talking of dignity in teaching profession, suppose a class consists of students from various and diverse backgrounds, and the students may differ from each other based on socioeconomic status or language or knowledge level and exposure. That happens because in a school there may be of different type of socioeconomic status students coming, different type of language. Some people may be Oriya or Bengali or Hindi or anything. Okay. So, as a teacher, one should not discriminate against any student. Treat them equally and allow them to speak, to present their views irrespective of their diverse backgrounds. Now, if I say I am Oriya or I am Hindi and a student belongs to my place, I should not say that yes, he belongs to my place, so I should give an ear to him or her. So that is not what dignity gives. So, as a teacher, we also should give the same dignity to a student, where the student also feels free to come back to you. So, this is what dignity as a professional value. Another one is truthfulness. Now, truthfulness, the term itself, it gives a meaning to you, but still, I have a meaning here saying that it is a state of honesty and sincerity. And when you are in this teaching profession, the truthfulness is high priority virtue. It has a big value in a teaching profession. So when you are true to you yourself, you can be true to others. When you're true to your profession, you can excel in your life. So that is what here we say. A truthful person does not deviate in his or her actions and shows uniformity in thoughts, words, and actions. It is a virtue that compels an individual to abide by the facts that can be proven. This was said by Cohen, 2006. So they say that he says that, so suppose you are true to your own job, profession, and yourself, you need not bring any type of factors defending it. So you will be proved to whatever you say. Now, it is avoiding manipulation of information and passing it as has been received. So there is no manipulation. When whatever is received, I can just pass on the same thing when I am asked for, rather than without asking, I should not pass it. It is just like a gossip. Okay. So the teacher should always remain truthful towards their profession. Like there should not be any forgery in documentation. Like I could not do it, I'll just put the marks whatever it's possible. Wrong commitment also will not be encouraged. Providing false information or miscommunication must be avoided. Then only truthfulness works as a part here. Now, suppose, as I said, I'll be giving you a few examples which will help you to relate to yourself and others. Suppose you are, as a teacher, are teaching in a classroom and one of your students asks a question, but you do not know the answer to that question. Sometimes it happens like this. Even when I also teach, it happens that nowadays students are very much Google friendly. So even when before coming to class, they search Google and they find out something, some or the other thing to ask the teachers. Why will the teachers only ask us? Why can't we also ask the teachers? So maybe it comes once to you. So what would you do? So being a truthful teacher, what I can do is I can just say that I don't know, but I will answer to your question tomorrow. So I can refer to the question, whatever is asked to me, and I can explain it properly to the student in the next class when I go for. So this is what truthful. So there is nothing called ego that we comes across because I'm accepting that I do not know. Acceptance is one of the best therapy we use in counseling. If I accept what I am, I will not at all think or overthink or hurt myself. Now, suppose one of your colleagues shares his medical condition with you and asks for your advice. So, what will you do as a truthful person? You may give him plausible advice and should never disclose his medical condition to others in general. And superior authorities also, in particular, without their consent. Without his consent, we are not supposed to do it. So, when a person comes to us with a trust and building a rapport with us, we should keep it confidentially. Because in counseling, what we do in our profession as a psychologist, what we do is confidentiality is one of the ethical standard which we follow. We do not go beyond ethics. That is what students trust us. Patient come to us. Our client builds a rapport with us because they know that the person will keep confidentiality and will help me in guiding me whatever I need. So this is what an example of truthfulness. Okay, sorry. Now, the next factor is fairness. Obviously, when teachers are considered to be fair and justice to be given to the students, we have to be fair towards us also. We should see what is fairness over here in this profession. So it is a virtue that connects you with your profession and the people around you, and your fair behavior increases rapport with your students as well as your colleague. So you're not adding or subtracting over here to whatever you are saying. It is fair towards correction. So there is nothing a student can raise a question that, ma'am or sir, why am I getting less marks? So you are able to answer the question saying that this is what the fairness being given to everyone. So whether it is a fill in the blanks or match the following or one word statement or it may be a descriptive answer. So the fair judgment is to be given to all. And if moreover students may not be satisfied, so in that case a fair explanation should be provided to them. Now being fair in your work will make you stand out among your colleagues. So when a student comes to meet you and ask you questions, that shows that the student likes you because you are fair and justified towards their answers, towards answering their questions. Now, your fair behavior increases rapport with your students and with your colleague. Fairness also creates a conducive environment in class or within an organization. Students feel free to ask or to take advice from you. So sometimes, based on our personal circumstances or situation, we have some irritant behavior. So that irritated behavior may not show any fairness towards any students. So we have to come out of the ego states of what we are in order to accompany with the students who comes to us. So fairness and justice should be given in our profession. Now to talk about being fair, people say that treating in a fair manner or treating everyone equal are the same. But no, it is crucial to clarify this two terms, being fair and treating everyone equally, they have a different meaning. Now, treating equally refers to providing a similar platform for every student to perform, even though every student is different. Now, when you are teaching in a class, some people will be able to grasp it easily, some people will not be able to grasp easily. So here you are treating equally to the class. You are not going to those students personally to help them because it's a whole lot of classroom where you have to show equally to everyone. Students differ in their prior experiences, intelligence, emotional stability, understanding level, and behavior. So they need additional treatment to excel in accordance with their needs. This additional treatment is fairness. It is giving them what they need as per their requirements. Suppose a student cannot understand in your classroom whatever you were teaching. So the student may approach you personally and try to ask about the understanding capacity because he's not able to understand the topic over there. So when you explain the student, that becomes the fair justice. You are helping a student and you are not treating everyone equally, whereas you're treating something whoever is in need of it. Now, it is giving them what they need as per their requirements, but within the limits of rules and regulations so that they can grow in all possible dimensions. But sometimes, for example, you can see you are in charge of the Viva Voce examination and ask questions to every student in the class. You're supposed to ask questions. So during the examination, you know that a student lives nearby or is indirectly related to you. So therefore, you can ask comparatively easy questions to that particular student to make his or her score better than other student. Is it fair? I don't think so. So in this condition, you are not at all fair in treating the students a lot in the class. So in this scenario, you are giving extra weightage to the student and not even treating everyone equally, right? So this is what beyond fairness. Now, responsibility. Each and every one are responsible in our profession. Performing our duties properly, we go with the lesson plan, we go with the correction, we go with preparing the question papers, we go with giving marks, and there is always a deadline. And in order to fulfill the deadline, we should be responsible about it, right? So, so responsibility is a sense of performing your duty or executing powers to complete a task within a given time. That is what I said, deadline, which is accountable towards one's profession. Now, being responsible defines your character. If a person is responsible, the character is defined as a disciplined person, a proper, perfect personality. Yeah. And it is easier to gain gratitude and respect among your colleagues when someone acts responsibly. Suppose you all the teachers wanted to go for a party, and each one is given one responsibility where they are going to relax and feel refreshed. Now, each one has the responsibility, and everyone, if they share the responsibility properly, so obviously the party will be really very fruitful and successful. Everyone will be happy. But if there is anyone who do not put it put the responsibility properly and they just miss it, there may be some type of mishap or some type of conflicts which may arise over there. So, as a teacher, you complete your task within a given time and you must ensure the same for your students as well. The student should not point out saying that the teacher is like this, so how can you expect me to be that? So, that is where the responsibility plays a major role in a teaching profession as a teacher. Now, for example, you are a class teacher and you found out a student who is not attentive in your classroom for a few days. What would you do? So you might have multiple options. So you may let the student go, whatever the student is doing, or simply asking him or her to be attentive. Yes, please pay attention in my class. You can ask him, or you would punish him or her because of not attending in the class. So, as a responsible person, what are you supposed to do? By opting for any of these options, you may be successful in making him or her focused and feel responsible. But will that be worth or will that be enough? So these are different type of responsibilities which we come across. We will ask the student to pay attention after the class also. I may call the student and say, so it is up to us how we treat the student with our responsibility figure. Now, as a responsible teacher, you should personally talk to the student and find out what is wrong with him or her. Now, I will give a live example of what I have come across today with one of the students. So, a student comes and says, "Ma'am, people hate me, and I don't know why people behave different to me." So, here, if I, as a professional person, may say that since you behave differently, so others are behaving differently. That is an easy process to take care. But if I ask the student what happened to you, what was the wrong thing with you, why did you feel sad, and try to help the student out, that gives a responsibility in my profession. And so also a teacher. So when you see a student is not paying attention, so after the class, not in the class, because each and every one has the dignity. I mean, self-esteem, people say, or they may be hurt when others will see that, yes, the student is getting scolding and all those. So in this case, we have to be very much careful. So maybe after the class, you can personally talk to the student and find out what is wrong with him or her. Then you try your best to eliminate the problem. And that's how you may feel more responsible towards your students, your duties, and your profession. So, it is one's responsibility to be responsible. I like this statement, so I have put it. So, it is one's responsibility to be responsible. Now, responsibility comes through consistent and persistent efforts and remaining loyal to your duties. It is always taken with a planful manner. If we plan something properly, we feel that we can do our responsibility in a better way rather than, take it all of a sudden and just go for it. Now, however, again in this responsibility, some people are very rigid to do things. That is what they are over responsible. When anything is over, it is not at all good. When we think, thinking is okay, but overthinking is not at all okay. So, the same way, being responsible is okay, but being over responsible or in a rigid way is not at all okay. Because responsibility is compatible with flexibility and it gives space to breathe. Okay, let me just do this. Whereas over responsibility may cause hypertension or pressure because they will be very much in a hurry just to finish it. This is my responsible given. I just finish up to this within this hour or within this end. So they take over responsibility, which is not at all fair, and it may also lead the person to be in hypertension or pressure. We should not do anything with pressure. We should have a passion to do it. So when we don't have a passion, we feel it is a pressure. So this is how responsibility plays a major role in our profession. Now, this is what practicing pluralism is very much taken as a new topic. Like school community consists of people from diverse cultural backgrounds and religions who live, grow, and flourish together. So we cannot say that all the Hindu or the Christian or the Muslims are sitting together. There are different religious practices they come across, and where they are sitting together to grow together, to flourish together, and be friends. So such community of diversity or different cultural people come together in a class. Now, considering all this diversity as a whole and as a single unit with the inclusion of every sections of society is called practicing pluralism. Now, what is practicing pluralism if we are asked to? Taking all the diversity of different culture, religion, okay, or SES, that is socioeconomic status, all taken together and functioning as a one is called practicing pluralism. It is quite natural to have ideological issues or conflicts among different sections of society. It's quite natural. There will be conflicts. So, when in the family also, maybe a small family, but there is always conflict. And sometimes we say that there is no emotion without motion. There should be some movement in the place. Now, practicing pluralism in a class is one way to deal with it. So, whatever the conflict arises in the class, so as teachers, what we have to do is we have to take it as a one and practice this type of diversity to bring it into a single unit. A pluralistic classroom could be a classroom in which students of various castes and religions are tolerant by accepting and respecting each other. This is what we need to teach our students. So they may belong to different castes, they may belong to different religion, different practices, but it is our duty and responsibility to bring everyone as one. So that they respect each other, they tolerate each other, they accept each other. There are also educational institutions where we have seen people coming from different states. They fight with their language or religion. This is not at all acceptable. So, this is this place where school is the platform where they learn all these things, and then only they can have a wonderful life ahead without any type of conflict coming across. Even though conflict comes, they should be able to overcome it. That is what they are made for. Now, pluralism again should not be misunderstood as multigrain bread. So, we have sometimes multigrain bread. So, it is not that, where every grain loses its individuality to make a new unique identity. So we have to work with all the grains coming together. So instead, pluralism could be explained as a bowl of salad. It's very nice explained by Maxwell and Simmer 2016. I really liked it where they have said that every ingredient contributes uniquely without losing the individual essence. So it gives a taste in the bowl of salad, everything together, right? So that is what they have properly explained for practicing pluralism. Now, as a professional teacher, how can you improve or promote or practicing pluralism in the class? How can you help the students to do it, or among the colleagues, or wherever you are in an organization or an institution? So, as a professional teacher, you should promote inclusion within the classroom by practicing pluralism, where I have given some measures which can be taken to enhance pluralism, which is as follows: like, policy makers should make policies that foster inclusion and pluralism. Whatever the policy, as I have spoken in the leadership qualities or style, there is a leadership style where the leader takes the majority of the people's decision or asks the decision or suggestion from the others to take a decision. So take everything as a whole. Pluralism, ethics, and moral education should be included in the mainstream curricula. So this is where we can bring an unity in the class, among the student, in the school. So wherever we are, we can say that we are a family. So this is what pluralistic concept comes across. A teacher should be professionally oriented to practice pluralism without raising any conflicts. There may be something coming across that there is a discussion, but a discussion leading to conflicts will not at all help in practicing pluralism within the group or within any type of committee or a community. A community participation should be increased while ensuring that this participation does not disturb academic activities. Just take it as a project. So there will be different groups of students who go with projects. So everyone in the group should be given that same importance, because if the project is good, the whole group are going to get the benefit of it. They are going to be recognized, they are going to be identified, and moreover, they will be awarded. So when everyone works at a time and all together with the pluralistic concept, obviously the community will excel. The teacher should set examples of respecting others' individuality and identity for their students. When the students see the teachers talking to themselves, they keep an eye as well as an ear open to know what they are teaching, what they are talking, and what type of gesture they have. Do they respect each other, or they're just talking among each other? So these people are very much, they have that effective thing to judge whether what type of communication is going on among them, what type of relationship is there among them. So we have to set examples for them so that they can also communicate among their fellow beings. Now, teachers may use some reinforcement strategies for those students who practice or promote inclusion, like appreciating them, some students respecting the other students. They should be called in the class, in the classroom, and appreciated for developing or promoting inclusion of practicing pluralism. So, when you appreciate, when you give positive remarks to the students, usually the students, not only the students, when we get positive remarks, we are motivated to continue doing more and more. So, they are just children, they are just students. Obviously, we can do it. It can be cultivated among the students, among the teachers, like among the colleagues, among others in the administrative areas also, just to bring a happy family in the organization. Now, while teaching, a teacher should include the examples in such a manner that every student can relate to them and does not feel marginalized. Like the example should not be dealt with any individuality or any casteism or any type of, you know, uh, language based. It should not be like that, because where other student will not be able to understand. So it should be very much common to all. So while discussing sensitive societal issues, appropriate words should be used to explain the scenario and examples so that they don't get offended. Sometimes we feel like giving examples, taking the student's name who is present over there. So there may be a chance that the student may get offended, or maybe other students start teasing that student. There have been many issues where sometimes we speak without our knowledge to give some appreciation. But this generation of students is very difficult to understand. They start teasing the student with that appreciation again and again when others did not get. So we have to be very careful so that our students do not get offense in our absence. Okay. So try to use a common language to communicate with students from diverse linguistic backgrounds within a classroom. That is what how we develop pluralistic communication among us. Use technologies to bring clarity and transparency to the teaching learning process. And there are so many teaching learning processes where we have started from COVID itself, where technology played a major role. And obviously, we are using it in our classroom also so that our students learn with clarity. Now you have to organize and participate in workshops regularly, like you are participating here, but it shows how much uh, responsibility you take in participating and to develop your skills to promote inclusion within the classroom. So the more and more you're learning from the sessions or the classroom here, you can put it in practical when you are in the classroom, when you are a teacher, when you are teaching something, and how is your gesture towards the students in the classroom and how are their gesture towards you. So it will give a very big difference with efficiency in your teaching process. Now, teaching is an art as well as science, we say, is it? Yes. Now, how can this topic be taken in this? So, practicing pluralism within the classroom is an art, as it is well said. And the way a teacher implements and inculcates pluralism within the students could be considered as science. Science is how we're having always a practical thing. Art goes with the theoretical. So when we say that we practice this, it is practicing. But when we do it, it's always a science. So now pluralism, practicing pluralism, kindly make it important and necessary in the classroom so that this will help the diversity to bring into one. Now, besides all the professionalisms or professional values, we come back to ethical practices. So, all are aware of ethics, right? So, why do we go for ethical practices? Because we need to go with a moral standard, a moral way of living, a peaceful way of living, a life with happiness, a life with some type of moral human beings. And that gives to the say like whether these questions are right or wrong. Ethics is always that. And that gives the righteousness of a human being of or an individual. Well, when we talk about ethical practices, moral dilemma comes into the picture. What is moral dilemma? Why there will be a dilemma when the morality is considered? So it is there. Dilemma comes everywhere, not only in morality or ethical standards. Now, to start with ethics, it has been derived from the Greek word ethos, which means a moral way of living, a happy way of living, and deals with the questions of right and wrong. Now, from counseling or psychological being, if I say, there are three types of pleasurable principles like id, ego, and superego. Id goes with the pleasure, ego with the reality, and superego with the morality. You know, so superego is played by the parents mostly because they say that this is what you have to do. This is not supposed to be done, and sometimes the teachers also. So, if you are teaching morality to your words or to your students, what type of dilemma you may face? Now, in a teacher's life, a dilemma could be understood as a situation where one has to make a forced choice whether he or she likes it or not. So, in this situation, what does he or she do? As a teacher, you might have confronted numerous circumstances with making decisions using your moral judgment. Sometimes we all have come across different backgrounds, different type of morality. Sometimes our decision may not match the decisions taken by someone else. So, in this, what are we supposed to do? Or sometimes we do not like to do something, but we are forced to do. So, how is it going to be dealt with? So, here, as a teacher, you might have confronted numerous circumstances with making decisions using your moral judgment. And in a dilemmatic situation, this judgment may help to conclude your decisions. That is what Hartman, in the year 2002, has pointed out. So, I'll just give you a few examples uh, how it is to be taken. Now you are sitting in a classroom, and outside you hear two of your colleagues talking about the superior authority. Maybe your HOD. Okay. So the conversation between your colleagues was not positive. Obviously, no one will speak good about the person who is heading there. Very, very rare, maybe. So the conversation between your colleagues was not positive and even seemed like a conspiracy against your superior authorities. Now, what would you do? You have overheard about it. You know they are your colleagues. So, if you go and tell the authorities, you may get a promotion. May or may not. That is different. But your colleagues may lose their jobs. So, the moral dilemma is that you cannot let this conspiracy grow in your institution because you are a person who loves your institution and would love to work over there. At the same time, you also don't want your colleagues to get fired from their jobs because they are brilliant teachers. So what would you do? So this is a dilemma of moral principles, of morality, of ethical standards. So how you're going to cope up with this, right? And you cannot just say that you have overheard the colleagues saying. So I leave it to you because some things you need to analyze. Sometimes you have to think logically. And if you also come across such situation, what are you supposed to do? Now, let me come back to the relationship part. Ethical relationship with the profession. Professional ethics demand equilibrium between personal and professional life. There is always a difference between imbalance between the personal and professional life of anyone. Sometimes it goes smoothly, sometimes there are ups and downs, so sometimes there are conflicts. It is seen everywhere. So now in professional ethics, we need to go with the balance with personal and professional life. So it defines your work frame, do's and don'ts, and the extent to which you comply with its norms and regulations. That is what professional ethics is defined as. Now, in teaching professionals, everyone are expected to project themselves as role models before their students. The students should like you, the students should trust you. So, the students should follow you because you are a leader. So, in this teaching profession, everyone are expected to be so. So it is an art how you as a teacher merge your professional values with personal values to maintain professionalism. That is what professionalism is. So you balance between your personal values and your professional values to bring a professionalism in your organization or your in your school, I can say. So, as a teaching professional, you should know your boundaries in a profession. For instance, to what extent you should get involved in a student's personal life and how much time you should give to your work and students. So, this is a proper plan which has to be given, which has to be done. Without proper planning, it is not feasible to work on because you will be having many conflicts or irritations or you will be frustrated. So, maintaining professionalism is not an easy task, but as teachers, we have to maintain, and there are some instances we need to know what are our boundaries in our professionalism areas. Now, for example, you are a teacher in a senior secondary school. You explained a chapter and instructed your students in the classroom on whatever was needed. Then, one of your students called you at home late in the night to clear his or her doubts. It may look normal to answer the call one or two times, but if it becomes a regular practice, what should you do? Would your professional ethics allow it? I don't think so. First of all, when teachers are at home, they usually don't allow the students to clarify doubts. That is also good, but sometimes we ask our students to come back to us in the school and clarify their doubts. That is better, I feel. So, as far professionalism is concerned, we should not include the personal beings because if you start explaining the student will be having the guts again to come back to you. So, the more and more the student comes to you, sometimes you may not be free to clarify the doubts, or sometimes you may be engaged with some, but the student will get angry when you do not do so. So, it's better to cut off right from the beginning, and it is the professionalism can be maintained at the school itself. So others may have other explanation, but what I felt professionalism is this we can balance among until and unless it is an emergency situation. There is an exam tomorrow and the student doesn't understand. That can be taken sometimes, but not always. Now, ethical relationship with learners. The learners are our students anyhow. So, what type of relationship you have to maintain ethically with your students? So, there are cases where we find that the students and teachers' relationships are not ethically maintained. So, let me see what we have to do in order to maintain our relationship ethically. Now, your relationship with your learner should define you as a teacher and your learner as a student. There is always a gap between a teacher and a student. A teacher can be friendly to the student, but cannot be a friend to a student. That is to be remembered. So, as a teaching professional, you may confront numerous situations where you would have to abide by your professionalism and ethics. As a teaching professional, it would be best if you maintain an unbiased and prejudice free rapport with your students. There should not be any bias factor with any of your student taking place. So, suppose you are attending a student and another student comes up to you, kindly attend to the next student the same way as you have attended to the previous one. So there should not be any type of injustice seen, or the student should not feel for it. And in this, you have to keep some criteria and boundary lines to preserve dignity and professionalism. So fine, when the student comes, that is okay, your duty and responsibility to help them. But beyond a teacher, there should not be any other role played with your student. So that is what ethical standard stands for. Now, outcome with the colleagues is very important because we can deal with the students, but it is sometimes difficult to deal with our own colleagues. So, a healthy relationship with colleagues may increase productivity and help eliminate obstacles to achieving organizational goals. Now, a colleague is always a colleague, so that a respect should be there. You cannot you cannot lower the self-esteem of another person. So, because you all belong to one institution, a school, and you all are teachers. So, one cannot be higher or one cannot be lower. So, it is very much an emotional attachment. You should know how to deal with your colleagues and all. Now, sometimes I always tell with my students a type of assertiveness should be developed. It's not mentioned, I'm just telling with my experience. Assertiveness has to be there with everyone. So it is a quality of this generation, I can say, because in this assertiveness, suppose I am not feeling well and one of my colleague wants me to accompany him or her outside. So what will you do? So you have a very good relation with your colleague. Now, in this, if you are really assertive, you can say no easily without hurting your colleague over there. So this is a type of quality which can be developed. And yes, as teaching profession, we need to know what type of healthy relationship we need to maintain among our colleagues. Now, a healthy and ethical relationship stands upon the firm ground of excellent and trustworthy behavior. A colleague can trust another colleague and share the privacy. In that case, the other colleague should not spread out the privacy neither to anyone, not to any senior professionals or any of the authorities without the consent of the colleague. Now, there are some rules to have an ethical or healthy relationship with your colleague. So, some of them are like do not provide misinformation about your work. So, when you deal with yourself, just inform whatever you have done. Maybe there are two teachers teaching the same subject in different sections. So one of your colleagues comes and says, okay, what have you taught over here? So here you have to be, you have to adopt the truthfulness in order to say that this is what the information has to be passed. I have taught this lesson, this chapter is done, and what about you? So if you say something and the colleague is not aware of it, so that misinformation may create a type of hostility among both of you. So this will also create a disturbance among the students of both the sections. So that is what I feel to say, that do not provide misinformation about your work. Trust your colleagues and be trustworthy. Take the initiative to work and communicate effectively. So when you take the initiative, today you are taking the initiative, so some other time another colleague of yours will take the initiative. So this will go on among each other. Eliminate corrupt practices. This is very much important for a teacher to eliminate all types of corruptions in the school, because education we worship and we cannot be corrupt, because if we are so, then we cannot develop something good among our own students. So we have to be very careful, because we are the persons who are worshipped by our students. Now respect your colleague. Each and every one demands or commands respect, we can say, because you, in your position, a teacher always commands respect of whatever the duties and activities being performed by them. So here, if we are respecting another person, obviously we will be getting the same respect back. So it is that is always a give and take policy, where we come across some of the other ways. The way you give, the same way you get. So respect your colleague and get the respect back from them. Obey organizational rule book. This is very much important, because if you fail to obey the organizational rule book, there is always another person to point it to you. So you also obey, you can help others to obey, so that everyone are in a proper place without being pointed out, without being asked, or without being questioned by anyone or your superiors. Give due credit to others' work. That is what appreciation I say. So if I appreciate others, the other person will be motivated to do more and more. And moreover, if I do certain good things, there will be another person to appreciate me, which will also increase my efficiency in my work. So give due credit to others' work, be genuine, accept feelings and feedback, and listen to your colleagues. These are few rules, few what we can say, some processes, disciplines, factors which you, if you follow, obviously there will be some ethical relationship with your colleagues. And yes, it is very much important to build up ethical relations among our colleagues, that too. Now, you are sitting in a staff room and see one of your colleagues who seems upset and sad. See, in a family, so many things happen. We don't know what is going to make us sad or upset or anything. So, what we can do is, like, we can see another person right in front of me, very much upset. So, on humanitarian grounds, you go to your colleague and ask about the cause of sadness. It is obvious, because when we see our own, colleague with such a bad mood, or something, sitting alone, or keeping her or his head down, so we can anyhow ask them to see, to find out if we can be of some help to them or not. So, however, the colleague refuses to discuss the issue and does not want anyone to get involved. Sometimes this happens too. So ethically, it would be best to back off and not get personal or pry. Getting too personal at the workplace may showcase unprofessionalism. This is what I wanted to point out. This can be underlined, because too professional and too much close or personal in the workplace is not at all professionalism for a professional person in teaching. So, however, if your colleague asks for your help, you should not hesitate to do so. We are always ready to help each other. So, that is what we are here for. So, like this, there may be so many examples coming up. It may be, with your colleague, or it may be with another colleague who's sitting next to you. So, sometimes we feel that we get disgusted. that if I say this, what will others think of me? But if you build up a trust, if you appreciate others, if you become a friend of your colleague, and if you are emotionally attached and you can understand, obviously another person will approach you and ask for help. So these are some of the things which we have to understand among each other, which we need to know about each other. So, whether it is in the staff room or whether it is in the project work or whether it is in the classroom, sometimes, or whether we are all standing in a, you know, assembly, whatever it is, we need to see that our colleagues are together. Sometimes I guess the teachers also have games and sports, and they also play in order to find out that, okay, they get refreshed. So here age doesn't matter. Here matters is how proficiency you are, how efficiency you are, how much light you feel, how much active you are in order to come out of a bad mood or bad mental health to a peaceful one. So there are so many cases which may come across for a person to seek help from you, or a person can be also standing beside you or a support to you. So that is what, as human beings, we ask for. Now, there are ethical relationship with parents also. So, as teachers, sometimes when the parent teachers meeting takes place, maybe the parents come out with a smile or with anger or with arguments we need to face, right? So, the teachers and parents are the two most influential components in a student's life, and these two poles shape the future of the students, behavior and culture of a student also. So the student towards a teacher, the ward towards a parent. So these two people help a personal student or a ward to grow up, to develop themselves. So when there is a relationship with the parents and teachers, that also should not be very much personal, because there may be a time where the parents may ask certain help from you where you cannot give. Now, proper and periodic communication between a teacher and parents is essential for the academic wellness of a learner. Yes, in school it takes place because parent teachers meeting takes place, where the parent comes along with their wards to meet the teachers, and they see how their wards have performed. So there is some disturbance, maybe. Please mute yourself.
Manoj side.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so it happens in online, that is understood. So here, just a few slides, I will help you out. I can understand, but this is very important. This will help you a lot. Now, teachers always should always be in contact with their students' parents and keep them updated with their child's progress at school. Why I say, because all of a sudden, if the parents comes in the parent teachers meeting and they come to know that the ward has not done well, obviously they will get angry and there may be some arguments with the teachers over there. So, as a teacher, if you feel that some of the students, maybe one single student or two or five, whatever the number of students are, if you feel that there is some type of disturbances in the student and they are not scoring well or they are not paying attendance and attention towards your class, and you feel some type of uneasy in the student, kindly talk to the parents. Moreover, the parents will be happy if such informations are given to the parents, and you may also ask the parents to keep it confidential. So you are helping the parent in this way. However, revealing confidential information about the students is not ethical. Confidential, when you talk to a student and the student says something with some trust, it is not ethical to tell the parents, because Why did they not tell the parents? Why are they telling you? So maybe there is some type of discrepancy where they feel that his parents or her parents will not understand, whereas you will understand. So that is what, unless the law requires it. In the sense, in counseling, in our profession, what we do is we do maintain confidentiality with the students. But when we come to know that the student is having such issues like suicidal ideation, or they have self harmed themselves, or they are going to attempt suicide, in certain types of laws, in order to save the student, we do take the consent of the student, try to convince them, try to influence them, and try to say that we will be there with your parents to help them out. Right? So, revealing confidential information when they come back to you, please take it personally, help the students without revealing it until and unless it is very serious. Now, parents and teachers should share the required information for the harmonious overall development of the child. Sometimes there is always a stigma. So the parents feel that my child is the best, but sometimes we don't understand. Our child also may undergo some type of problems, maybe among the friend circle, the peers, maybe somewhere they have come across and they are not able to speak out what has happened to them. So in this, we have to be very, very careful in dealing with the parents. So some ethical guidelines has to be followed. Now, for example, you contact the parents of a child who is not doing well in his or her studies. Then you go to their home to have a professional meeting with them. You go home because the parents call you to their house. So sometimes it is not feasible, but maybe for personal discussion, the parents are not able to give time to come to school, maybe because of so busy schedule. So they request the teacher to come. Then you go to their home to have a professional meeting with them. So you have mentioned professional meeting, it's not a personal meeting. And after the meeting, they offer you a gift as a token of gratitude. You accept it. After a few more meetings with them, the frequency of the gifts increases. Some of the gifts are expensive. Now, the parents are demanding favor from you to promote their child to the next class. What will you do? So, that is the place where ethical standard comes across. Once, if you go and meet and explain briefly about the student, that's okay. So, again and again, meeting the parents, taking expensive gifts is not at all advisable. So that is where there may be what I should not use maybe, there will be an opportunity for the parents to ask you for a favor. So that is where we need to avoid. So we need to maintain professionalism and take ethical standards with relationship to the parents also, so that the parents take it for granted that yes, this is what professionalism is and we should not hinder it. Now, accepting or giving gifts may seem acceptable to some extent, but as a teaching professional, you must know where to stop. So suppose the student has come up first in the class and the parents are so happy, they start celebrating, giving chocolates to everyone, or distributing sweets to everyone. So that is what the happiness of those parents that they can do it. And as a teacher, they give a gift to you just because of that. But they cannot give a gift to you every time, right? And you are not supposed to accept also. So there are chances where you will be overloaded or emotionally blackmailed, or something may be there where a teaching profession doesn't allow all these things to be done. So we have to be very much careful in dealing with the parents. So as I have said in the ego states before, like a teacher with an adult ego state and a parent with a parent ego state, they have diverse interaction. Like the parent says that, why did you give low marks? Usually the student asks for, sir, ma'am or sir, why did you give low marks? Rather than the parent is so much concerned. So he comes and argues with the teacher that, why did you give low marks to my ward? So that happens when the ego states. See, I am taking the ego states again. So this will help you to know where do you stand, which type of ego state you are there. So we can always correlate, our topics, what we have come across these 2 days, and see where do we stand and what type of help we can come across. So parents nowadays are so much concerned with the marks rather than anything else. We could see even in the university, I'm working in VIT, but here still we see the parents are very much concerned with the marks. People are getting 9.8, 9.9, 10 CGPA. And the student is so proud to say that I have got 10 CGPA. But there is no extracurricular activities by the student there. So how is the student going to live a life in the society? Is it through studies? That is not possible. So even the teachers, many teachers, maybe parents also, and there you have to see that how are you going to deal with other teachers and your own ward, son or daughter. So we have to give more importance to the ethical relationship, whether they are learners or parents or colleagues. And I'm going to talk about one of the important chapter, which the important chapter now is ethical relationship with community and other stakeholders. Now, here, as a teaching professional, you are responsible for shaping the community and prospective citizens. When you talk about community, it is not one or two people. There are vast number of people, and from diverse religion, caste, creed, and different places, different language they speak. So, in this community, also, how a teaching professional is going to help. Now, you are responsible for shaping the community and prospective citizens. Yes. Therefore, a sincere teacher should be aware of the need of the community and should try to teach values accordingly. So there are different type of communities. Like sometimes we say that some NRIs also come across, or different cultural people also come across. They may have different dressing styles, they may have different talking terms, they may have different gestures and postures. So we cannot just talk to those people saying that no, you're not supposed to be like this, because the community is as such. So we have to respect the community. So in that case, if you are a sincere teacher, you should be aware of the need of the community. You cannot just blame the community, neither the people of that community. So here, what I have mentioned is every community consists of unique cultures, beliefs, and traditions. And as a teaching professional, you should endeavor to understand, respect, and preserve them. I remember when I was teaching in an international organization, I was teaching IB as well as, you know, AIC course, GCE and all. So it was different. So usually what we feel is when we enter the class, students should stand up and greet us. Or when we see the students, they wish us good morning, miss or ma'am, good evening or so. Excuse me. So at that time, what happens? It was my first career in my profession. So for first year of my life in my career. So rather than wishing good morning or good afternoon or good evening, whatever it is, hi miss, "Hello, miss, this is how they used to wish." So I was a bit surprised when I felt that they are the students in the school, but this is how they are wishing me. So I could understand they have come from this community. So I gave them back the same way, "Hello." So it was easy for us to interact rather than having a different, gesture feeling. So there are different type of people in different communities, as I am saying. There will be different religious practices also following a different community. So there we should see that what type of ethical relationship we need to maintain. So we need to understand different communities. We need to understand other stakeholders. We need to promote the, you know, pluralistic way of including everyone together. So it would be better if you try to encourage students to participate in the community. There should not be any discrepancy in the community among each other. Usually, the discrepancy takes place when you see students from Orissa. So they form a group or a community because they can talk Oriya, or students from Bihar or from West Bengal or from Tamil Nadu. They go with the same cultural and language type. So they can go on with it. But when we understand different type of community, we have to help them also understand different type of communities, right? So that is what the tradition is different, the beliefs are different. When you go for some function, maybe the annual function takes place in the schools. So there will be different type of drama, cultural dance or song or different type of, attire coming up with it. So they dress up in a different way. They enjoy the day like anything. So that enjoyment, how is it possible? Because they accept it. We try to accept every belief and every culture in their own unique manner. So that is how the community development takes place. And even other stakeholders, whoever, the administration, as we have come across everything. So we need to tell our students to participate in everything. They should not form any groupism. That is ethically bad. So the groupism in the same class will create a different relationship among each other. There may be a position, there may be a chance where some students are left alone. There are people whom I have come across in my experience. I can see many students here that some students felt very lonely when they were in schools. I'm really feeling really proud to say, or I'm speaking to the school teachers, that there have been students whom I met personally or who came for my guidance and help where they felt that they were bullied in the school. So, school is an institution to worship. Like we have to keep an eye of more ethical standards, more ethical relationship, more morality among the students so that we can help ourselves along with helping others. Now, I would like to sum up what I have come across today in today's session. Today's session was very important because we are in a profession, teaching is a profession, and all the teachers have to follow some professional values and ethics. They have to practice in order to build up a justifiable professionalism among each other. Now, when I talk about different type of professionalism, so we say that first professionalism can be maintained when we go with a balance with our professional as well as personal values. There should be a balance between our work and home. So when we come to the profession, we are very much professional and we go with our designation and we try to maintain and develop ourselves in our professionalism again. Now, is a morality which we need to follow, but sometimes there will be a dilemma in the moral dilemma also. So, I'm not going in a sequence manner, I need to see that if you can find out where I am talking about. So here, the morality is followed, the ethical standard is followed, but still there is a dilemma where you can focus that some of the dilemmas has to be taken care by everyone. So there are factors or professional practices like dignity. We all have dignity, which cannot be compared with respect. Dignity is always inherent and it is internal in manner. Dignity does not depend on age, nor neither professions. Dignity is found with everyone, even a normal individual. But respect is only seen when we get after performing our duties and responsibilities. Along with dignity, there have been some other practices like truthfulness. This is one of the factor where we have come across responsibility, you know. Then here, fairness and justice, how we come across all those things, and what type of responsible individual I am, or how am I going to deal my responsibility with my colleagues, with my students, with my superiors. So all these things we have come across along with the ethical practices. I'm not going to repeat all the things because I guess you all will be knowing it or you will get it later. So ethical practices is very much valuable in a teaching profession. Ethics, which we say that yes, it is worth to be ethical, it is worth to be, to have some moral values among us. There are different type of ethical relationships. So what I have pointed out is ethical relationship with your colleague, with your learner, I mean the students, with parents. These are the main things, and along with it we come to the community and the stakeholders, which we feel that is very very important to know about the ethical standards, so that where we remain as one of the major teaching professional, you know position, the position matters a lot. And to tell you everyone, wherever I have met the students take the career with the subject of the teacher they like. This you can note it down, it is very much true. They select their career with the teacher they like. They do not go with the parents. Even when I have asked many students, those who have come to know about the career, they always said something inside, back of the mind, they felt that this teacher was very nice. She understood or he understood me. And this person was nice not only in giving marks, but explaining why did I get less marks. So this type of standards can be mentioned rather than, when students are getting less marks, you give more marks so that students are happy with you. It is not an ethical standard which we need to follow. Because whatever the way students are treated in the school, the same way they expect in the colleges or universities. So when they argue for marks and they are given the marks there by the teacher may feel, why to argue? Come on, give the marks. That becomes a habit. So when they come to the university, also they do argue for it, which is not feasible, which is not viable, which is not acceptable. So in order to make our students in the school a better citizen in the community, in the society, we need to develop ourselves. We need to understand ourselves. And this is what these 2 days I have been talking about, understanding ourselves. Understanding ourselves in terms of ego states, understanding ourselves in terms of ethical relationships, understanding ourselves in terms of professionalism, professional practices, our positions, our power, our leadership. Everything comes across. But after understanding yourself, and you feel that how to come out of it, how to manage, we will come back in the next session, which will be on Monday, and we will be talking about different type of, you know, conflicts which may arise among us. We all are human beings anyhow. There may be somehow some ways where we may feel that yes, we are stuck and we cannot come out of it. We need some professional help, or somewhere I cannot manage my own self. I need to know about myself. And somewhere we may feel that, what about your self management? Somewhere we can talk about stress management also. So every time I repeat, we are all human beings. Even a doctor has disease. Even a counselor or a psychologist has mental health problem. Even sometimes when we try to develop ourselves, we may also face problems and issues which we need to overcome from all of this very easily. So, thank you so much. Even though you all have your classes or exams going on with the students also in some of the schools, you all have come and attended, and those who have not attended also will be having some benefit from this session out. So, thank you so much for listening to me, for being with me for all this time. Thank you. Dr. Tripathi? Thank you. Thanks for the comments. I'm really glad with gratitude. So there was a good comment for me. Okay. Hope I could give my best to you all. And I'm already in a profession where I meet many, many students. I have been meeting students right from the lower KG. Even I like to talk to them and be with them from schools, colleges. Now I am in a university, so I deal with the PhD scholars also. So all have different type of attitude, different type of development which they would like to come and share with me, and even I also take care of them. So this is a place where we learn through interactions, through knowing each other. It was nice to be here. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. So today we have given a lot of inputs to the students. I think tomorrow and day after are holidays, Saturday and Sunday. So Monday again we will meet. Students, please come with some points, important points that you find difficulty in understanding, so that on those points the discussion will be there. So please come with the points and raise those points in the counseling class. So, madam, thank you very much for today.
Sir,
And
there's a person who has raised a hand. Is
Anil Kumar,
yes.
please ask your question if you have any question.
Thank you so much, madam. The session was very fruitful, and especially you gave us examples. That was very nice, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
One thing I would like to tell all the students, please uh, try to fill up the examination form for the June term and examination. The link has already been flashed there in the IGNOU's website. So if you have not filled up the form, please fill up the form. Of course, time is there, sufficient time is there. And submit all the assignments at the regional center. You need not have to come here. Please send the assignments by post, so that we will get those assignments evaluated by our empanel counselors. Madam, if you can evaluate the assignments, I will send the complete bunch to you in your home
Sure,
address.
sure. Sure, sir. I'll do it. I'll do it.
So
It will
thank
be
you
my
very much.
best. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I'll take your leave.
Thank you. Thank
So
you, sir.
happy weekend to all of you. Yes, you have Any doubt? Can we come back on the next session, Anil sir? I cannot hear you.
Yes, madam. It's my
Okay.
pleasure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So please tell all your friends to join because you are joining in very smaller number.
Yes, sir.
There are 155 learners,
Oh my
but
God.
only some 20 plus learners are joining. So this is something which is not desirable. You see, you all should join. It is a sponsored program by the ministry, and if the report goes there, what will be the consequences? You will be reprimanded. If I send the report that only 20 people are joining, then you'll be in difficulty. Your Navodaya
Sometimes we are not
Vidyalaya
relieved, sir. That's why. That is a problem.
Navodaya Vidyalaya authorities will be very strict in this particular matter because they are spending quite a lot of amount for your training, isn't it? Please tell your friends. Tell all your friends to join.
So I have a doubt,
Yes,
sir.
please.
Tell.
Uh, Not to madam, only
Okay.
to you, sir.
Oh, then I will leave. Okay,
Yes,
thank
No,
you
madam.
so
no,
much.
no problem. No
We don't
problem
want to
because
trouble
you're
you.
also a part of the university system, so there is no problem.
Yes, madam. Sir, you have sent a link, sir, to register for exams and so on.
Now, that link is available in IGNO's main website.
No, we are
So
registering. While registering,
igno.ac.in.
they are asking us to pay the fee, sir, 600.
No, no. You see, per course 200 rupees examination fees you have to pay for filling up of the examination form. So you have three papers, isn't it? 61, 62,
600
and
they are asking,
63. 600 rupees. You are right. 600 rupees you have to pay and fill up the examination form.
and that money will be reimbursed by the office, no, sir.
I don't know. You can ask your Navodaya Vidyalaya authorities about it because
Now I asked
nobody
our
is dealing that.
OS, and he
Huh?
told us to ask you. That's why.
Okay. I will inquire. I will inquire and let you know. During this counseling class, I will let you know about it.
Yes, sir. Please do let us know. I already paid the money. That's why.
Okay. 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 I,
Okay. So,
I will.
okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
you, madam.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
madam. Sir, without filling up that fees, we are not